Hey, everybody. Wow, good grief, it's bright. Hi. Happy Saturday. It's cold in Denton. Yeah, this Saturday. I need to go running and I'm trying to decide if my lungs will freeze out from the inside. It seems like it's like totally possible, right? Anyway, yeah, I'm working inside for now. Thanks for all of your pictures. You guys are a good-looking bunch. Hopefully you liked browsing Human Org, that journal. I very seldom these days have time to browse through an academic journal. And yeah, sometimes it's just fun. It's nice to set aside 15 minutes and kind of like just see what the buzz is, of the buzz of the month, right? And I don't know if you know this or if everybody knows this, but like so this is the Association Journal of the Society for Applied Anthropology, right? So human organization. It's the Journal of Applied Anthropology. Lots of anthropologists are also members of, or are members of that. It's kind of like just something you do, right, to support the discipline. Lots of us are also members, if you can afford it, of AAA, which is the American Anthropology Association, right? So AAA. And then lots of us are also members of, particularly if you are sort of a business person or a design anthropologist, UX anthropologist, EPIC, ethnographic praxis in industry. So all kinds of like membership associations that are good for you, but then it's also like, I don't know, something you do. It's like a union card or something, right? So, you pay, it's kind of old fashioned, but you pay this association to sort of represent your interests. Yeah. So AAA also has NAPA, the National Association for the Practice of Anthropology, right? And so lots of AAA is huge and includes, archaeologists and linguists and people who are academics and so would not be relevant. But the fact that AAA also includes NAPA, and then NAPA also has its own journal, the Annals of Applied Praxis. Yeah, that makes applied anthropologists also active sometimes at AAA meetings. And in fact, NAPA does really cool stuff at the AAAs. So Napa holds career fairs and networking events. Yeah, and host that journal, the Annals of Applied Praxis. So anyway, you have lots of options. But I did this assignment in Human Org because one final reason I guess that we teach quantitative methods in our department is that a certain proportion of the field, right, uses quantitative measures. Oops, uses quantitative measures. And so, only 8 of you had responded by the time I wanted to do this video. And so I don't have the entire class's sample, but I also decided it was a good idea to go ahead and get this video done. But yeah, out of 50 articles that were analyzed in this very scientific way that I highly advanced math way of doing it, 23 out of the 50 or 46% of the field of applied anthropology uses quantified data. So yeah, I mean, that's the last reason that we teach this course, right? Or require this course is because it represents about half of the field of applied anthropology. I agree it's not like a perfect proxy measure. For one, I think there are a lot of people who are applied anthropologists who work in the field of applied anthropology that for some reason decide never to publish in a journal. Um, that's a shame, I would say, because I think they do cool stuff that other people then don't get to find out about. Um, and then as well, I was purposefully vague with this assignment, purposely vague about like what it means to quote, use quantified data. And so different ones of you interpreted that differently, which is fine. So my question, as you will learn to critique this week and next, my question had poor reliability and maybe a poor operational definition, right? Hopefully you liked the Napa consultancy piece that, again, students from this class did just a few years ago. Pramod, you picked up on the gender disparities. Good. Sammy, you commented a lot of the survey included archaeologists. much of the field of anthropology, particularly AAA anthropology, it's still a four-field subject, right? And so there are lots of people who consider themselves practicing anthropologists who work as archaeologists, right? That's still a pretty viable, that is a viable kind of field, right? Zach, you asked about going on to a PhD. We have measured this in our department in the past. A- Zach's question for the rest of you was, well, what percentage go on to a PhD? And, in our department, at least from our program, we have figured out that it's usually between 20 to 30% decide within 5 years after our program to either get a second master's degree or a PhD. Again, it varies. It's probably been more than 30% times and less than 20%. So I'm giving myself a little bit of range there. But I would say 20 to 30% within 5 years. So and those who have gone on to a PhD, Zach, have always told us that they're well prepared and that they have no problem in those PhD programs. And then Zach, you also asked about identity. I, I don't. I mean, every one of you, right? Once you get a master's degree in anything, you're sort of a professionally credentialed something, whatever that degree is in. And so, as far as all of us consider in our program, all of you will be or are becoming professionally credentialed anthropologists. Now, whether or not you have a job that you put that in your job title, I think that varies. I know a lot of our grads will put anthropologist as part of a business card. A business card will have anthropologist and then something else at the end of it. Jake, you were surprised and sort of happy. You were like, Jake said, wow, I'm so impressed that 50% of grads found jobs within 6 months after graduation. Um, our students didn't include this data because they thought that it might sound divisive because they came from our program. Our program was the highest because they also stratified that data by where you got your degree. And I want to say our program was like 90%, maybe it was 85 to 90% found jobs within, like jobs that they liked within 6 months after graduation. It may not have been the perfect job, but it was a job, right, that paid a decent salary. So yeah, UNT was actually the highest. Okay, moving on. Doodle poll. So for the in-class meetings, I'm actually stunned that 16 out of 18 of you could all meet at a particular time. I thought that it was going to be a lot lower than that. Yeah, so despite having a large class, despite people all over the country, Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central for the second half of the course, and then for the two presentation days, right? At the very end of the course, the last 2 weeks, Thursdays at 7 p.m. Zach and Ava, I'm sorry. I have a feeling you guys are both in Alicia's class. I know that time doesn't seem to work for you. I've already sent Alicia an email, and so hopefully we will be able to work something out. But if not, I don't know, we can be flexible with the two of you. All right. All right. Just a few words about the topic this coming week. It is all about putting the science in the social sciences, right? And so it's about how anthropologists can go sort of move from just sort of knowing things or, methods that tell you something, but about knowing things in a systematic way, right? That helps eliminate bias or that doesn't introduce other kinds of errors, right? I will tell you now, there are a lot of new definitions this week from Bernard's chapter 2. You very much have to read that chapter, right? It is useful. Um, Particularly things like nominal, ordinal versus categorical variables. All this will come up again. Likert scales, that's how you say it, Likert scales. Unidimensional versus multidimensional variables, really important in this course. Validity and reliability. All of these will come up again and again and again. And so make sure you're comfortable slinging them around, right? Write out definitions. That would be my advice. Practice using them in sentences, right? Because you'll have to in this course. Maybe even especially operational definitions. That's really, really important. How to create good operational definitions, right? Versus conceptual definitions. So yeah, all those are important. I'm telling you now, yeah, you really need to work on those. So make sure that you can sort of rattle those off. All right. That's it. Hope you guys have a fantastic week. I will see you in the discussions. All right. Bye.